Today's video, How to Contact Alumni and Make Useful Connections, is presented by the Center for Experiential Learning and Career Success. The roadmap for today's video includes identifying and finding alumni to contact, tracking those that you wish to contact, developing a contact plan, including the emails that you send, informational interview questions and requests, other outreach that you may conduct with those you wish to contact, as well as continued connections, and lastly, resources. It has been said that all the knowledge is in the connections, by David Rumelhart. And this is important because the connections that you make with Trinity alumni and those who are not Trinity alums can really be useful as you go throughout your career path. You want them to know what you know and what you can do, but also you want to be able to be a resource for them as well, because networking and making contacts is a give and take. So that being said, how do you go about the process of finding alumni that you may be able to reach out to for assistance and information about the career path that you want to engage in for the future? There are a few ways that you go about reaching out and identifying alumni. The first of which is looking at the alumni chapters. Trinity University has alumni chapters in most of the major cities and areas across the United States, as well as one international chapter. By going onto the Trinity University website and going to the page for alumni chapters and network cities, you are able to see the full listing of the locations, as well as the Facebook page link for many of them that have Facebook pages. Oftentimes, our chapters will list the president and a career network chair, along with email addresses that can be utilized for you to reach out to them to make contact. A second resource is the Trinity University page and the Trinity University Alumni Group page on LinkedIn. Once you go to the Trinity University page on LinkedIn, you'll want to use the Alumni tab that is located on the left sidebar in order to search through the alumni who are a part of our great network. There is a search box at the top once you've clicked that link on the left side, and it will allow you to put in as many search terms as you like. My advice to you is to think more broadly than narrowly. It is better for you to choose perhaps two options, an industry area and a location, and let it broadly sweep through and provide you the results that you will see at the bottom of the page, than for you to put in a lot of criteria and possibly have someone that you might be interested in opted out by virtue of LinkedIn's analytics. The second option within LinkedIn that you can utilize is the Trinity University Alumni Group. Within that group, you are able to post questions and network and see opportunities that alumni are posting for the people that they most know, their fellow alums. The third option would be your Trinity University professors. Oftentimes, faculty will keep in contact with students and will know where they're at. And those resources can be quite helpful for you. So be sure to talk to your professors. Be sure to talk to faculty in other departments that you may not know, but ask them if they have any contacts who might be in industry areas that you are interested in. You should not be surprised to know that they know quite a few people. The fourth option that I would suggest is looking at the Trinity University Alumni Spotlights. that are oftentimes in the Tower News publication, as well as the website and other news. These can be tremendous leads because these people have been highlighted for the wonderful things that they're currently doing, regardless of if they're in the same major that you're currently in or if they're in a different major, but they're still doing the work that you might be interested in for the future. The other option is also looking at just the alumni notes, where alumni are updating fellow alums with what they're doing and how they've moved. That also may provide an option for you in terms of seeing where someone may be currently in their career and how that may be helpful for you in the future. So how do you keep track of all of the individuals that you may locate? And is it really important? Did you reach out to them or didn't you reach out to them? When did you reach out to them? Those are very important questions. And so we recommend that you keep a spreadsheet where you're able to keep track of all the people that you've reached out to. If you'll use the link on this slide, it will provide you with an opportunity to utilize a template that you can copy into your own Google Drive and utilize from henceforth more. So it'll keep track of the names of the individuals as well as the website that their company is on, their LinkedIn profile, their major, what city they're currently in, all the information you need, as well as a column about when you contacted them. So you've identified individuals you want to speak to. Now what? Well, you want to go from a Google search to the email. You want to get closer and closer. We're itching closer and closer to contact. So after you've looked at their LinkedIn profile, I'd also suggest that you look at their company website. Find out more about the company as well as if they have a profile on the website that you could view. This will just give you more information about who they are and where they work and the sort of questions that you may want to ask. You can also do a general Google search for their name and see what other results may pop up. You may find that they're part of a professional organization that you've not heard of or that you're interested in that you could then ask them about as well. You also want to use a Google search to help you identify any other individuals of interest. While you're already on the website for their company, why don't you take a perusal and see if there are any other staff members who are doing things in jobs that might be of interest or for whom you are curious about their job title. And then you can also utilize your Google search to find an email address for them because you are going to need to reach out. LinkedIn does provide a vehicle for you to reach out to the people that you've located by way of the in-mail, but there is a nominal fee for that. So if you don't wish to pay for the in-mail credits in order to message them through the LinkedIn system, you can also do a Google search and see if you can locate their information in that manner as well. So once you have the people, you have their contact information, it's time to send the email. And there are two things that you want to consider as you're sending the email. Having a very simple, clear, informative subject line and having all the information you need in the body of the email. So you can have a general and short subject line for your email that could be something like Trinity University seeks advice about career industry, Trinity University student seeks advice about film industry, or seeks advice about career industry or career pathway within production. You can tailor it to what that individual is what job that they're in, or you can tailor it to what your job interest is. In the body of the email, you want to make sure that you mention your name, your major, your graduation year, your career interest and why you're interested in it, and most importantly, that you're asking to speak with them for 10 or 15 minutes. You don't want to ask for longer than that because it's harder for people to carve out that time in their schedule. And you also do not want to ask for a job or internship during this initial email. Oftentimes, when you want to find out information about a career and you want to find out about an internship or job, if you put both of those items in the email, the recipient oftentimes will not respond to your request to meet and to learn more. All they will focus on will be your request for an internship or job. And if that is not within their management level and they are not able to do so, they will just say, I'm sorry, I don't have any jobs available. And then it becomes very hard for you to reestablish connection. So it's better not to do that initially. You can wait after you've established more of a connection. You can mention to them if they have any opportunities that might be in line with entry level or internship, that you would be very grateful if they could pass those along to you. But it's not something you want to include in the email at this point. So there's a quote by Michelle Janae that says, networking is not just about connecting people. It's about connecting people to ideas, and people with opportunities. So knowing that, you have to think about how you want to approach all of the aspects of your informational interview and your contact with individuals. How will you train your psyche? So job and intern searches are not for the weak. I often say that it's like having a job to search for a job. So how are you going to approach your search? How are you going to approach also the informational interview and talking to someone that you don't know, which can be intimidating? I would recommend that you have a mantra or a positive phrase to kick you off. What is it that you need to say to yourself to pump yourself up? Maybe it's something that you write on a little note card and you tape it to your mirror. But what is it that you need to say to give yourself that positivity before you have that outreach? You also want to think about this conversation as a mystery or an exploration. And I say that in the sense of, while you're talking to them and you're asking them questions, yes, you'll have a list of things that you're interested in, but you don't want to be so focused on that list of things you're interested in that you miss out on what they're saying. Oftentimes, they are really some interesting things and great trajectories that you can get on just by listening and saying, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Or can you explain? And once that person provides you the information, it may be quite illuminating. So let the conversation unfold on its own by the mystery and exploration that's inherent to it. The other thing that I would recommend is taking notes. You want to take notes about what you hear, because as you go and you talk to other individuals who are in the same field or same profession, it may vary. So it's good to know who told you what. And it'll also help you out later when you're writing a thank you note. Be prepared. And I say that in the sense of, you want to have your list of questions ready. What do you want to find out? What do you want to know? So that's the question. What should I ask? So there are lots of things that you can ask an individual for whom you're trying to create a connection with. You can ask them more about the field, about the company, about the mission of the company, about the culture. How did they find this company and begin to work with them? And what are the chances of advancement within the company or within the industry overall? How do people generally advance? Is it through lateral hires? How do you really break into the field? And what will it look like in 5 years, 10 years? What do they foresee as the future? Is there anything you can be doing or studying while you're still in undergraduate school that will help prepare you for a future in this field? Is there something that they would tell their past self to have done to help them out? The other thing that we as a center have that's helpful as you think about what to ask is an informational interview guide that is housed on Handshake underneath resources. You can utilize this guide as your foundation point. It has several questions on there, a whole list of questions, in fact, and they should be ones that you use to get you started. And you develop some of the other questions that are more niche questions dealing with the industry that you want to go into for the future. But I would recommend that you start off with our informational interview guide questions just to kind of get those juices running and help you to be a little bit more comfortable with starting that conversation. So next steps. You've identified individuals, you've found some alumni, you've put them into your spreadsheet, you've done your Google search to find any other information about them, you've reached out to them via email, you've actually had the informational interview via phone or in person. So you want to follow up. That's the first of the next steps. Make sure that you've emailed a thank you note directly after and try to reference some of the information you discussed. That's where those notes that you took come in handy. I would also seek to share your resume with them and ask for comments that could be used to aid in improving your document. Are there tips that they have for their particular industry that would be helpful for you? And even if they don't have tips, that's one way for you to get your resume in their hands without it being threatening for them in the sense of, can you help me find a job? It's just as simple, would you mind taking a look? And you never know. From there may be job openings where they might actually pass your resume along or remember to reach out to you and say, oh, you should reach out and you should apply for this job. I think the experiences you have perfectly suit what we are looking for. So there really isn't any harm in asking for them to review your document. The other step that you can take is to be sure that you continue the conversation and you widen the circle. So I always recommend, as a part of the informational interview, that you ask if the individual has any colleagues or friends who are also in the same industry who might be helpful for you in terms of asking some of your questions. Oftentimes, people have one or two people that they would recommend you speak with. And so you want to make sure that you reach out to those folks who were recommended. But additionally, be sure that you reach back to your contact as well, periodically. And that can be in the form of you just saying that you're checking in, letting them know how your semester is going, how the season went for you, and also referring to an article of interest that you want to share or discuss. But those kind of things keep the lines of communication open. So LinkedIn and beyond is sort of the third step to this. And that's where you want to make sure that you've connected via LinkedIn with any of your informational interview contacts that you've made. Don't use the tailored message that LinkedIn provides, but utilize something that you've crafted on your own that really suits with the conversation and communications you've had with the individual thus far. And then also be sure to thank your original contact when you speak to one of their referrals. Update them on your career thoughts and plans. Let them know, thank you so much for recommending that I speak to John. It was really great talking to him and getting his insight, and but for you suggesting that, I wouldn't have known that he would have been a person that I should reach out to. But this has helped solidify my future career goals, and I'm very much hopeful about what will happen next. But give them an update, something along those lines. People need to know that you listen to them, and they need to know what the next steps are. It helps them to continue to be invested in your future. Last steps, and those are all about the additional information. So our Handshake platform has a great number of resources that are available. We and within the center have provided guides on resumes, CVs, the graduate, any graduate school searches that you may be interested in as well, along with salary negotiation guides, of course the informational interview guide. There are just a number of resources available. So please be sure to log into Handshake and look under resources and see what else may be there that could be helpful in your future pursuits. The other thing you can do is look at professional organizations. They can be helpful in terms of looking at obtaining a student membership that may give you access to a job bank, to an internship bank before you graduate. They also are helpful in terms of finding additional contacts who may or may not be affiliated with Trinity, but for whom you could also reach out and have informational interviews. But that's also another really great resource that is often overlooked. The last thing is just you being an advocate for yourself. You can't be shy. You really need to tell everyone that you know and those that you don't know about what your future career aspirations are, because you really don't know if someone has a cousin who is in the field, or an aunt who is in the field, or their partner or spouse who is in that field. So don't be shy. You have to be the best advocate for yourself that you possibly can be. This actually ends our video for today, listing how you can go about making a strategy and a plan for reaching out to alumni. Our Center for Experiential Learning and Career Success is always here to assist. You can be sure that you can reach out to us via email at careerservices@trinity.edu, or you can also go to our Handshake platform, which is trinity.joinhandshake.com. Utilizing your T-Learn credentials and T-Mail credentials, you are able to go onto the website to log in and to both access the resources we have, as well as scheduling appointments and seeing all of our upcoming events and workshops. We always look forward to helping you in your career pursuits, whether or not it's determining what your career path may be, or helping you to find positions and develop a good search to locate and land that job that you want for the future. We are here to help you find your direction.